Maybe consciousness is the tragedy of matter wanting to understand itself. Just look at our galaxy, this universe. However, it is being projected to us by, the big establishments, organizations like NASA. They show us a version of reality that may not exist. Or maybe if it does exist, then the evidence that is put forward, it contradicts the true reality. Maybe Darwin was right about the evolutionary theory, but I also think that if you listen to people other than Darwin, Charles Darwin, you'll see that the difference between our DNA and a chimpanzee's DNA is only 2%. So that begs the question, wouldn't we be some sort of an experiment, perhaps? An experiment done by an advanced ancient civilization on us, or perhaps, advanced civilization that flew from afar. But the technology, UFO crash retrievals, the program, it shows us that, the or maybe the deliveries of UFO. Maybe there's some sort of a treaty that was done, as they say that these aliens needed um, some humans in return to experiment. They'll abduct them. So a lot of people have come forward. A lot of people have come forward talking about their experiences and about their abduction or invitation. So you see, once you have these kind of questions in your head, once you dig in, the nature of reality breaks. The system breaks. It starts to crumble, and you start to see things beyond the surface level. By the surface level, I mean, look at all the things that are happening around our world. Human life has no value at all. Like I mean, you're only some percentage better in your life comparison than a chicken that is meant for slaughter. You know? I mean, look at what human beings have been doing. And that brings me to some sort of an idea that there's more of bad in our world than good. Or it's easy, or maybe this world is being run by an evil force rather than a good force. Because a good force would strive toward utopia, or a place where there's equality among people, where um, diversity is celebrated and not, you know, criticized, or or to think in terms of if there's a superior race, superior person, superior clan, all of that. I think it's all the people who are in power, bearing the fruit of power, or if they have been in power for a long time. Well, I'm sure maybe their forefathers did something good that, you know, brought them to a place where they could hold power and devote their life to, you know, but I think power is something that can be easily misutilized. A man in power, you know, it's very hard to handle, I think, power. If given on the hands of a person who is incapable of striving toward the betterment of society, it's very hard to be good, you know? I think it's very hard to be good. We have got all these sins, and it goes back to sins. It's the mentioning of sins. So, how clearly did people thousands of years, ago knew that there are these ingrained sins in us, or perhaps, like this thing, that lust, this greed, this gluttony, and so on and so forth. It's just, it feels like even when we want to be, not be a sinful person, yet we are, you know? And so a lot of people, power, any sort of power, can definitely become sinful. It will be easily, made sinful not if people don't know the use of it. Now I'll tell you the power of social media. Social media has a lot of power, I think. A lot. It's one of the inventions that has done a lot of bad for the society, but at the same time I think it also has the power to change things, because this is a message delivery system. If I'm This is communication, if we go back in history, apart from its digital censorship and all of that. But if spoken in rather a way which is not direct, or because I don't want to protest, I don't want to be somebody who gets killed, I don't want to be a martyr, I don't want to raise awareness about issues that I think everyone already has an awareness about. But I want you to think in terms, if you're listening, I want you to think in terms beyond this, surface level thinking, where a lot of sacrifices are being made. A lot of people are dying. A lot of the healthcare, the air quality, all of that. I would say to people living in Delhi or air polluted places, just leave Delhi if you can. Find another way of life. I mean, that's going to cause cancer. It's going to ultimately kill you. And if not you, your later generations. We don't see, this is the thing. We think that the, we always think that, for example, COVID, the effect of that, I'm sure a lot of people are going to know the effects of that in some time, what COVID did to us. And if you want to protect yourself, if you want to just do anything that protects you, I would say, yeah. It's like I was saying, power is a double edged sword. It can affect your brain in ways that you never imagined. So, all the people criticizing world leaders for their wrongdoings, well, we have to give them that. Power does something to the head, right? But here's the thing: if power can corrupt, let's say, a person, you know, a person who does not know how to deal with power, then comes people, other people who are a little bit in control, other people who have known life, have an experience of life, who see things for as they are. And if these people collectively come together, they can bring out some consciousness outside, an awareness which leads to the betterment of society. Our institutions, organizations will fail. We have seen that happening over time. And again, there's no instant utopia that's coming to save us. That's never happening, actually. So the only way out, the only way to the betterment of society is by civilians, average people, trying to widen their horizons, trying to know beyond what is being projected to them. And this awakening, I think, will can come through social media. I definitely think that I'm a what I forgot the word, but yeah, I am sure that awareness could be brought to people, and that's something, because this awareness of living in harmony and celebrating diversity if and I think it's not just the burden is not on one religion, it's on all of the religions, it's on every human being that is living right now, to share this thing that we have to celebrate life, we have to celebrate human beings. Life is almost impossible if we look outside. It doesn't exist as they tell us, but here we because the number seems there's a number to it, 8 billion. They don't consider the impact of killing people. It's slowly going to happen. Change in society is only going to come in any society, in anywhere in this world, when people think on their own. I think then they can think any. But I think this is the thing. This is the contradiction. If you think on your own, you are definitely not going to think like the person sitting next to you. You're going to have contradictions. You're going to have your view. And a person who is devoted to, let's say, understanding our place in this world will definitely come forward with a good argument, you know? And this is what happens. Then you have followers. Then you lead people. Vivekanand led people to to a more holistic, to a more spiritual, to a more connected sort of way ahead. We lack great leaders. That's the problem that we have. And because of that, there's killing, there is, you know, and people. Okay, so this is what I'm going to say. If I'm of a religion and this religion is prospering, it's doing well, in consideration with in comparison with other religions, I am bound to make enemies. I'm bound to make enemies because this superiority complex, this thing, is ingrained in us. I'm telling you for a fact that any religion, any person, it's ingrained in them. If not superiority complex, it's if I mean, you can't think of, if you are already living in a bad situation, if people look down upon you, you will say no, this is not real. But if you get privileged enough to experience equality, and let's say if you're from, you know, from an upper caste, if you feel like, you know, that you're getting respect for no reason, okay, at least you're not being disrespected. Trust me, you're bound to be someone who looks down upon people. It's just that's how it's ingrained in us. We start, we become the judge of, you know, things in that. And see, being of an upper caste, or being of, you know, having, being financially well in society in comparison with other people, it gives you some sort of a power. Gives you some sort of a leverage than other people, an unfair advantage, you know, in comparison with people who have never gone to schools, or who cannot afford to go to schools. Or it's not just schools, I think, you know, to just broaden their horizons about life, and to see life for at least what it is like, and not how it's being projected to us. I've said it so many times now, because the projection of life, the way things are made, if you really dig, you'll find some contradictions, and that will make you think, that will make you leave helpless, because there's no disclosure of what's real and what's not real, and so on and so forth. Just give me one sec. In a few years, there's going to be disclosure, a big disclosure, trust me, about about entities or about, um, let's call it as it is, aliens, there's going to be a disclosure. No biggie, no big deal, right? People are, I don't think if it's going to create, maybe it might create some sort of instability in society, some sort of a, I don't know, a temperament that's hard to deal with, in people. It's going to create havoc. It might create havoc, but the silver lining, the hope is at least people will look beyond and try and come and be unified. Human beings, Homo sapiens, they may unify. They may come to a conclusion that all this bombing, this destruction, uh, giving nuclear, destruction warnings to each other, or so casually throwing words of, you know, the apocalyptic nature. It's People loosely throw words these days about death and destruction, and that they will do this, I will do this, and this is like kids, given like guns to fight with. And the leaders never go to war. They send armies. They send innocent people who had nothing to do with the issues that they were trying to create. And ultimately, it comes to the greed of the people who want more land, more money, more abundance, and all of that. That's why I never like, if you have any sort of power, okay, any sort of power, it could be, it doesn't mean that it has to be monetary power. And people who are not doing financially well, here's an advice for them as well. If you know English, I mean, the current language that I'm using, it has a lot of opportunities, at least right now. There are a lot of opportunities with which your communication skills, that's what I'm saying. You can do wonders with that. I have hosted, I have interviewed people, I have utilized this voice that I have. I know it's all right. But jokes apart, I have utilized the gifts that I was given. And I think that's the duty of every human being. But, you know, it's easy for anyone to fall into the evil trap. It's very easy to dismiss people, to reject people, to look down upon people, to kill people, to make anyone quiet, to make them feel less. It's very easy to do that. If you're someone who believes in human beings as just one race, we're just human. That's it. We're all just human beings. No skin color, nothing. There's no difference in us. We all speak together. We all speak. We all talk to each other. We all can share our ideas. We all can listen, speak. Autistic people can do telepathy, so they are more advanced than us. So we see these. We come whole again. We do not support death and destruction. That's the thing, and it's affecting our psychology. At least it's affecting my psychology, because then the dystopian thinking starts. You get more pessimistic and more alone and isolated. That's the creation of the world. That's the kind of world that is being created right now. I mean, death, and it lives with us. Lives with human beings. Some of us will never be able to be truly be happy, because we got to know, we got aware that kids or people. I have like 1 minute of storage left. So that kids or people who had nothing to do with power, politics, eventually die, and we will never become we will never want to participate in any such thing that causes death and destruction to anyone. No matter where they are from, no matter what kind of color of their skin is, do they have extra melanin, whatever. We just never become never establish any sort of hatred toward them. That's the most sinful thing, I think, that a human being could do, is to establish hate for any other human being, for their color, race, caste, anything. That's the worst thing that can ever happen.